everyone! My name is Random, and today we're talking a little bit about this whole Titans controversy. Alright, the best way to get it started is just to pull up the article the old-fashioned way here. So, here we go. Apparently there's some backlash about some costuming on the leaked photos from the Titans project. Now, of course, this is an adaptation of the cartoon and the comic book, which I'm not at all familiar with, so I am probably not the person to give opinions on the show or not, but I can give some insight here on this costume choice. Now, I don't know anything about the show. I know it's like a cartoon of a bunch of sort of green people and they do superhero-y things. Yeah, like this is more. This I'm familiar with. I have seen some of this. I didn't actually watch it, but I'm aware that it exists. So if you're telling me that this character is this character, I'm not seeing it. Oh, Lord. And apparently, yeah, so this is what she's supposed to look like in the animation and the cosplay, and this is what she looks like now? I don't want to just assume, and I'm going to link this article to you guys in the video, but I don't want to just assume that this is a final costume. I kind of want to assume that this is an undercover sort of hooker day job, maybe? Because that was my first thought, is that she looks kind of like an undercover hooker here, you know? And, oh, I like her. That's a really awesome cosplay. I think, you know, why isn't this actress, or she's probably a cosplay actress, why didn't they get her to do the costume? I don't know. Anyway, so my initial thoughts, and you probably already saw my little Google searches that I'm going to pull up in a second, was that the image kind of looks like a hooker. She kind of reminds me of the stereotype of like the undercover cop trying to look like a hooker sort of stereotype. You know, with the big fur coat and the big curly hair and high boots and a dress that's a little too a little too nice to be out on the streets, and that's kind of what it reminds me of. And here I can show you guys that this is the Twitter article here that somebody linked me. And apparently people are not happy about this. So one of the things I did was I Google image searched this image, and it gave me a costume party. It thought it was going to be like a costume party sort of thing. It did not think this was like a serious superhero movie costume, but, you know, a costume party sort of thing. Oh, also, it gave me this nice image of Elizabeth Berkley and Showgirls, and dear God, I hope this isn't nudity. Good, there's no nudity in there. Yeah, so you gotta be really careful when you search stuff, and I know that it goes by your values and hues and the coloration here, and absolutely, if it's very similar in coloration with like the pinks and purples, so that's probably why, but it's not a good sign when you're showing me scenes from Showgirls. And then I did one better, and I Googled undercover streetwalker, and you know, this is my stereotype of what an undercover hooker looks like, with the fur coat and the big kinky hair, and yeah, that is exactly what I think of. And you know, dear God, I hope there's no porn in these. So we're just gonna close out our display capture now. So my thoughts are, is it wrong to judge a book by its cover? Absolutely. We don't know. We don't know what the context to that scene is so far. We don't know that much about it. I am not an expert on Titans, Teen Titans Go, any of that stuff. Not at all familiar with it, other than just a vague, I know what it is. That being said, we do kind of have to present ourselves in a way that won't draw attention negatively to oneself. This kind of comes down to the same argument of, you know, if you have a neck tattoo and you're kind of assumed to be a criminal, or if you have like a face tattoo, people are going to assume you were in jail or something, or you're a criminal or a thug. Same thing if you wear super provocative clothing, that people might assume you're looking for attention. And is it right to do? No. But do we do it? Yes. It's human nature. We have certain stereotypes in our mind. Like, you know, my stereotype of an undercover sort of cop is they tend to wear sort of ridiculous sort of streetwalker outfits. And it is we don't know the context of this. I don't like this design. I think it, in my mind, I immediately go to an undercover streetwalker sort of thing. I think that there's a lot to be said if this is your costume choice. And it doesn't even look like some of the other people in this in this photo really look like their costumes either. I mean, the sort of blue hooded, let me pull this back up again. Like, okay, this guy's green, but his costume doesn't look the same either. I mean, I guess they're doing a more real world version, but why does she have to look like a streetwalker? Why does this girl have to look like, you know, just some girl going to high school? You know, that's kind of, it's just such a contrast to these two. Even she, like, this character does not fit with these two characters, regardless of, like, yeah, this is clearly a superhero cartoon. This is clearly, these three images up here, clearly a superhero cartoon. These are like, okay, this guy looks like he might be an anime fan or a Jacksepticeye fan with the green hair. So he looks like an average high school kid. She kind of looks like an average high school girl who might be a little more emo, like might be a little more, what's the new emo? I don't even know what the new emo is. She looks like a high school student, right? They look like normal high school students. Girls don't dress like this in high school. Girls would get ridiculed in high school for this. I don't understand. So for me to be like, for somebody like me to see this on Twitter and have no context for it, I mean, you're trying to draw in an audience of people who might not normally watch your show, right? Or watch your movies, or so for me to see just something that when I Google image search it shows me costume parties. You know, it looks like that. It doesn't even look professional. I'm going to assume, and I'm going to jump to conclusions, because that's kind of what people do. And is it right? No. We know that, like, jumping to a conclusion based on somebody's appearance is never the right thing. I know, I get, you know, oh, you look like an SJW because you have red hair and glasses. I know, I get that all the time. And I try not to take so much offense to it, and I try to let what I say take over as something more important than, like, how I look. That being said, I do try and not just roll out of bed, and I try and at least groom myself halfway before I get on camera. So yes, appearances are very important. We judge people, even on a subconscious level, based on how we perceive them. And when we see something like this, where we see like something that has been traditionally associated with a negative stereotype, we are going to subconsciously feel very negatively towards it. And to make a choice like that intentionally to prove a point that, oh yes, but don't judge us by what we look like, if that is their argument, which I don't know, I'm assuming, but that is definitely a counter argument that I could, that I have a comeback for. Yeah, don't intentionally go out of your way to provoke people. I see that all the time with women who wear something with their tits spilling out over the top of them, saying, oh, my eyes are up here. Yes, but your tits are in my face. It's a completely double standard here. If you don't want me to look, don't put it on display. Same thing if you don't want a negative comment, don't wear something and don't look a certain way to draw the negative attention, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that we can't help the way we look. Like, a lot of us can't help our weight, our skin color, our gender. We can't help a lot of that sometimes. But you can make an effort to not be so provocative or provocational. Don't take this stance of, don't look at me. But look at me, but no, you're not allowed to. And that's kind of what I feel when I see this picture. And yes, this is a complete editorial. This is a complete emotional piece. I am not somebody who's super familiar with it. I have no attachment to it. This is just kind of a judgment based on what I'm seeing visually. And I turned on my notifications. But thank you for subscribing. I will leave that in because sometimes the bloopers are fun. Anyway, am I completely wrong on this? What do you guys think? Is this something, are you on board with? Will you watch it if this is like the finished costume? Or do you think this is just some undercover sort of scene where, just like Karen Gillan's like sort of hot pants and midriff exposed shirt on the Jumanji movie, people were upset over that. And she's like, yes, but it's important to the story. And absolutely, it absolutely made sense to the story that she was dressed like that. So is this another one of those instances? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section below, and I will see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye!